It was initially used by Plato in 4th BC century in his book
wow.
Symposium. So that's the difference between soulmate and twin flame. My book is also a voice of suppressed women, lady committing suicide because her husband was taunting her. They of course published the book, but then they have nothing to do with the marketing, no help there and nothing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Next Show with Naghma, and I'm a host Naghma, and today with me I have the author Neha Sharma. You can see the book right here, the author of Are You My Twin Flame? We know soulmates. We keep talking about soulmate, she's my soulmate, he's my soulmate, we are best friends since childhood, the love of my life, etc., etc., etc. But what exactly is a twin flame and what is this book all about? This is what we are here to explore today. Neha, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Naghma. It's a pleasure to be talking to you and talking about my book with you, especially when I know you have read the book and you have appreciated it. And that's my most besotted moment to be here with you.
Definitely. Amazing. So my first question to you, who is your twin flame? And what is it?
Oh, no, please don't ask.
Okay, I'm not asking that. Then what is a twin flame according to you? Because we know soulmates. We keep, I don't know if we have assumed that we know soulmates and that we don't really hear about twin flames much. But then what exactly are these?
It's very difficult to specifically differentiate between the two terms, soulmate and twin flame. But yeah, soulmate is a very commonly used term. It is a very commonly used term, and we generally, like you said, we generally use it for anyone, our best friend, our partners and all that. But twin flame is a much deeper term, and we need to understand, like if we go back in the history, the mythological explanation of a twin flame is it was initially used by Plato in 4th BC century in his book Symposium. And there that interpretation was given that initially the human beings used to be in the form of having 2 heads and 4 pairs of limbs. And the gods felt threatened with that. So they decided to separate the 2 entities. So then, like when we come to the earth, then the soul is separated in 2 entities with 2 limbs and 1 head. So these 2 separated entities are twin flames of each other. Well, that is a mythological
And I thought this is something Instagram. Okay.
No, it dates so long back to 4th BC. So that's the history, mythological history, nothing factual about it. But that explains what exactly is a twin flame. It is actually a mirror image of ourselves. And it is believed that somewhere in the world, our twin flame definitely exists. It is, and not necessarily we are going to find her or him. That is not necessary. But exact mirror image of ourselves. And like soulmate is there to complement you, to bring out the best in you, to be your companion and to help in your growth and bring you happiness.
True.
But twin flame, I feel, is a catalyst for our spiritual transformation and growth. And twin flames transcend the physical attraction, that realm of physical attraction. They delve deep into the world of spiritual, mental and emotional connection. And mainly they are for spiritual transformation and growth. So that's the difference between soulmate and twin flame. And if, like you said, it's an Instagrammable term, then with regards to that, I will say, like with dating apps and all those, what you are going to find is your soulmate, because soulmates can keep on changing. But there is only one twin flame. And like I said earlier, not necessarily we are going to find a twin flame, but twin flame is only one, and so it is not, it cannot be found on dating apps or such thing.
Now that's interesting and deep at the same time. Well, thank you for sharing that. Some bit of information was extremely new to me. Well, definitely I didn't know that there was a huge history behind it. Mythological in a way, but then but that's good information. So in the book, Are You My Twin Flame, you have very strong 2 female characters. You have Naira and you have Kitu. 2 people who are in their own way exceptional. So was it intentional to be having women as the main characters in the book and not to just one heroine as per se? You have two characters. So was that intentional when you wrote the book?
No. Initially, when I started writing the book, I had only one female protagonist, Naira, and it was her story. But gradually, as the story and plot progressed, somewhere the plot developed on its own within my imagination.
Lovely.
And this character of Kitu, she was there originally, but she was not so important.
Not so prominent.
Not so prominent. But her development is totally on its own while writing the story, while thinking about what's going to, and it developed on its own. Like definitely, I won't say that it is totally imaginative. There's some like any writing is not totally imaginative. It is based on three things: imagination, then experience, our own experience, and observation around us. So Kitu is a product of all these three things: a bit of imagination, a bit of experience, and a bit of observation. Yeah, but she was not there initially.
Yes, so
she
strong. Like all like great scientists have said, energy is neither created nor gone away from this world. Any characters or any ideas also, it's not that we are that huge inventions that we are making, but it's always inspired from something that we see in our day-to-day life. So for you personally, how has your writing journey been like? I don't know how early you started, but then what was that turning point when you decided, no, this is one story that I want to explore and I want to write a book on this?
I would say the very common thing that besides every writer, there is a hidden reader. So like I've been reading since my childhood, so many books, so many classics, so many novels. Then of course newspaper and editorials and all that. So initially I started writing small blogs for this Mom's Presso and 1,000-word stories and all that. Then again, my girls were grown up. They were not dependent on me. One actually left, so that was a half empty nest syndrome. And then they said, "You are reading so much." Even they said, and I also felt that you should. And of course, there was this hidden desire somewhere. Yes, now I should start writing something. Okay, then about this first thing, that COVID times, during COVID times, we used to be so free, and that was when I started writing. The idea for the story, I don't know, like I said, I was observing something around me and experiencing a few things. And of course, then I added my imagination and I felt that, I have a story. I know these characters, they exist in our society. Because apart from Twin Flame, what you're missing is that my book is also a voice of suppressed women.
Definitely.
So that's what I was feeling. Now it's time I should put my hidden thoughts and into words. So that was the beginning, though too late, you might say. I started in my 40s.
It's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. I would like that to be an inspiration for women, middle-aged women. So so that was the point when I started writing. And
interesting. So now that you've brought it up, talking about the characters in the book, and that your intention was also to bring out the suppressed voice of women, right? So in the book, both the characters, they have been suppressed in many ways. It could be mentally, physically, or professionally, or emotionally, any way possible. So how difficult was it to actually delve in so deep into the minds of these characters? Because then you're living them when you're writing them, right? Exactly. And both the characters have gone through a lot of things in their life. Yes, they did have a support system thanks to the background in the book, but then at the same time they've been going through a lot of emotional turmoil. So how was your journey been while you were writing or building these characters, and how have you become stronger or evolved as a person during this same writing journey?
Or you may put it differently. You might say that I tried to inculcate my strength into my characters and bring them out ultimately as very strong characters. Because whatever they had been through, as you said, they were in such a turmoil and such a traumatic condition. Like today I was reading about this news about that lady committing suicide because her husband was taunting her. She was just, I think so, 2 years in her marriage. No, not 2 years. She has a 4-year-old son. But what she wrote was that I was being treated as a workmaid, and she committed suicide.
Yeah.
Why? Where was the need for suicide? Couldn't
Yeah.
you have separated from your
Yeah.
husband? You were working, you were
Yeah.
earning.
Yeah.
So that's what I have tried to bring out to the women of the world, to especially Indian homemakers and housewives. Now they keep on suffering and they don't even realize that they are suffering.
Yeah.
That becomes part of their living. So I felt that this message should go out strong, that you can at some point of time you can stop being a Mrs. This, a mother to those, and a daughter-in-law to those. You can start being yourself. Just see what brings happiness to you. You don't have to always think about fulfilling others' expectations. And okay, that may be a normal thing also. You should perform your responsibilities. But if you are suffering, if you are being taken for granted, if you are being suppressed, then it's high time to raise your voice.
True.
At least don't take this extreme step, which that unfortunate girl took. I don't know why. So that's what I am trying to. So I just wanted like at some point, Naira was in such a desperate condition that she was just on the verge of taking that extreme step, isn't it? But of course, then she found her twin flame. We should not name her twin flame.
No spoilers.
So she was rescued, but not everyone is lucky.
Yeah,
not everyone is lucky to find a support or find a twin flame. Twin flame is a very far-fetched thing, not even true friends. And then they take such extreme steps. So that is my main point, main home. I want this to be brought out to everybody's, especially ladies and women's notice, that you have that strength. You don't even need your twin flame. Of course, if you find that nothing can beat that. But you are strong on your own. Please get up and live for yourself. Live for your happiness.
It's like telling self-love is not selfish. We start assuming that anything we do for ourselves, we are conditioned in such a way that we are forced to believe that no, we are being selfish. But that's not the scenario in real life. You need to love yourselves first. Only then you can even do anything, spread love or support the family or anything that you want. But that's amazing. I mean, that's great courage that you've shown bringing these characters out, and hats off to the characters in the book as well. But in the book, I've observed that you've taken chapters and you've narrated the story in different people's perspective. Like one chapter is talking from Naira's perspective, the next is from Kitu, the next is from Akash. So there are different people telling the stories. So how did you build your structure in the book? What was your actual writing journey been like?
See, that also happened on its own. Initially, when I started as a plain narrative.
Okay.
But somehow I didn't feel comfortable with it. And then it struck, initially the first chapter I wrote was from Naira's perspective. And then I thought, who better to explain what one is feeling, what one is going through, than
that person itself.
That himself or herself.
Wow.
And it happened on its own. Like then next chapter, my next character, and I wrote from their perspective.
Lovely.
I found it is less confusing also. And it so it clarifies the flow of words, flow of characters, and flow of plots in a very organic manner. So it happened on its own. I had not planned to write it that way, but I felt so comfortable when I chose this way.
I think that's the best part I liked about the book, because like you said, like as a reader, this is a complete reader perspective. Sometimes we see the chapter names or the chapter numbers on the top, and suddenly the narration or some explanation or some description of a place or thing or starting, and then we're suddenly thinking, okay, now who is where? So this one had clarity there, and I like this about a lot of Nicholas Sparks' books and everything. He's an expert in narrating stories in different people's perspective, and that's something I always loved, and that's one of the best things I loved about the book also.
Thank you.
So how has you're a debut author, and there are a lot of new authors coming in. There are aspiring writers who would want their books published, and how has your journey in this publishing industry, because writing is one part of it. Once that is over, then there is a huge journey. The bigger, harder part waiting for you. So how has that journey been for you? Who guided you? How did you navigate through?
That was again a totally new path, which it was totally done on my own. There was no guidance. There was nobody I know who would have guided me. So like I started, of course I sent my manuscript to traditional publishers also, but that is a rare of rarities that they will accept a debut writer's manuscript. So I had to take that self-publishing path,
Mm-hmm.
and I went with Blue Rose initially. But of course, there are, matlab, they of course publish the book, but then they have nothing to do with the marketing, no
Yeah.
help there and nothing. So yeah, it was going on, but then of course they did one good thing, that they pitched my book to Srishti Publishers.
Amazing.
And then it was taken on by
Yeah.
them, and that was I felt that my book I have been awarded as a writer, my
Okay.
book being accepted by
Yeah.
traditional publishers.
Yeah.
That was a good thing in itself, regardless of sales or
Of course.
anything. But then of course, once it was taken by Srishti Publishers, the sales improved, its position went up, it even reached the best selling ranks in Amazon.
Amazing.
So it was done all on my own, based on my experience.
Yeah.
And I think now I am well suited to guide new
Yeah,
authors.
exactly.
Like you
Do
said,
you
yeah.
have new authors reaching out to you, asking
No,
for
not
guidance?
as yet. Yeah, one or two, rarely, but not so many. Because again, like you said, there are so many authors
Yeah.
out there, so even they don't know who to reach. Or
Exactly.
but like in a few earlier podcasts and all these, I have had a few questions from authors. And,
amazing.
yeah.
I know, that's actually good. So during that journey, is there something that you feel that if I had known this, or if I had this information with me, things would have been way more sorted out for me? Is there something like that?
Yeah, I never knew that marketing was such a difficult thing, and marketing was not taken care of by publishers.
Okay.
It was totally left to you.
Yeah.
And then that is a totally different area.
Yeah.
Like your book
Yeah.
gets published, that
Yeah.
is one thing.
True.
And marketing, that is a totally different thing.
Different
And then
ballgame.
and then you have to put in as much effort there as
Yeah.
much as you did for writing.
Yeah.
So that I realized, and now I know that when I write my next book, I have to focus not so much on getting it published as much as on marketing things. So that is a big thing to be taken care of by authors.
Okay. Wow, that's true. What was your feeling like when you finally had your book printed, published copy in your hand? If that has been today, how would you be feeling?
Yeah, that was like having another baby.
Okay.
Exactly. And totally yours, the baby totally scripted by you. And it was, of course, exhilarating.
Yeah.
And an extreme sense of achievement.
Amazing.
Like till now, I felt, before writing that book, I felt, yeah, I am doing my duties, but I have not done anything for myself, for my happiness.
Yeah.
And so that was the moment. And I felt that that was my achievement, whether the book is a success or not, whether it reaches heights or not. But having that book in my hand, first that self-published copy, and then secondly this copy by Srishti, and I was delighted. I was on the top of the world.
I'm sure you would have partied like good that day. But how has the responses been from your family, especially your daughters? Because you have female characters in the book. You have 2 daughters, and how did they take it? What was their feedback? I'm really curious.
Of course, they were very proud,
Yeah.
and family members, my parents, my father, even my husband. My father said, "Wow, we didn't know."
You could write.
Yeah, no, I could write. He knew, but he didn't know that I had this. When the book got published, then he got to know. I didn't tell him that I was writing or something. So he was just shocked.
A lot of
Arey, wow.
surprise.
They were all were surprised, my parents, my daughters, and family, friends, everybody. That was like a big surprise for them that we have an author in our family.
Yeah, of course. Huge achievement.
Yeah. I can say that, yes, of course, I'm the first author in my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a sense of achievement, and everybody felt very proud. And
Amazing. Is there somebody in your life that who never thought of you as a writer and then was like gone bonkers when they finally realized that you are a published author? Among your friends or anyone like that?
Not exactly anybody I can recall, but yeah, a bit of that was feeling of everyone, my friends.
Okay, but then yeah, of course, this journey is pretty tough. It's not an easy one. Writing is one good solo journey. You take your time out. It's your passion. You use it as a form of relaxation and you write. But then after that, what happens? Trying to get it to publish, that's a huge process. What was your support system? Because as you said, you did everything by yourself, but then you still needed a lot of information. If that could help any of the aspiring writers, what are those few tips and tricks that actually worked for you? And are there things that you wished, oh, I did this wrong. If I'm doing my next book, I will not do this part. So are there some advices or some tips that actually worked for you that you can help the aspiring writers with?
like I'll just say I had nobody to guide me, but like just now while I'm talking to you, I feel like I have talked to you earlier about the kind of work you are doing. So I wish I had somebody like you to guide me and to give me the right direction. That is the kind of work and nice kind of work you're doing. That is very helpful for new authors like me. So yeah, that's what I can say, that yeah, we need somebody like you, and if I had met you at that point of time, that would have helped me a lot.
Guys, note. That is great. Thank you so much for that. So what is next for you? What are you planning on writing again? Because you cannot stop with showing us two amazingly beautiful two characters there. Of course, the guys were good, but then no, I love the ladies more there in the book. So after showing us such amazing characters, we definitely don't want you stopping writing. So what is your next steps looking like?
See, I have even thought of the title of my next book.
Oh.
And I have got bits and pieces of plots and stories. I have not been able to combine all of those, but definitely it is going to be a women-centric book, just like this one. And if you can guess something like what it is going to be about, then should I or should I not tell you the time?
It can create some bit of hype
yeah,
also.
see what I am thinking of. I have not even researched whether such a title already exists or not, because you have to see that also. But my title is going to be Lives Unlived.
Oh, nice.
Shades.
Oh, that's actually nice.
Shades of patriarchy. Like,
oh.
we don't even realize, women don't even realize that they are being subjected to patriarchy in their lives.
Yeah.
So I want to bring that out this time. If this is happening to you, this is not normal.
Yeah.
So you have to raise your voice against it. This is the patriarchy which has been inculcated within you, and you don't even realize that.
We're conditioned to believe in certain things which we think is the way the society is supposed to work. But yeah, that's a feminist in me talking. But then we know that. That's interesting. And you're taking a fictional approach itself.
Yeah, fictional.
That's amazing. So in your journey as an author, what was the craziest feedback or criticism that you received? In a good and bad way, however it could be.
See, I have got like so many reviews on Amazon, Goodreads, and I consider them all. I have never, if I had an idea, I would have marked out some, but I'll have to go through them to tell which one is, because I have no idea about which I can particularly point out. I liked all the reviews, all the criticism also, but nothing so specific which I can point out.
Any particular publisher that you're so keen on, that you dream every single day that my next book should get taken by this publisher?
Oh, any good publishing house like HarperCollins, of course, that comes to the mind, and Penguin and all those. Of course, it is any author's dream to get their book published by them.
Very true. Are you also still writing? I mean, other than the book, like you were telling, you to write articles, blogs, and all of it. Are you still doing any of it?
No, I am still just thinking about my next work and writing points about that only.
Okay.
And no.
What does your research process look like? Because sometimes when you're deep diving so much into characters and trying to build such emotionally involved characters, I'm sure that your observation is obviously one, but then there is also multiple other things that you might be looking out and understanding and researching and learning while you're writing your entire story, right? So what is your research process like?
See, about this book, about these characters, it was again all observation, experience, and a bit of imagination. Like, research I did at one point for one character, like if you remember Anna from Russia. That I had to delve into a bit of research because I have no idea about Russian countries and Russian
culture. Everything is different.
So there I went, of course, Google was there for that.
Of course.
I took help for her character, for her background. I had to take the help of Google. Otherwise, everything else was totally based on observation, experience, and imagination.
Amazing. Anyways, I'm so glad that we finally had a chance to meet. Because I read your book, I think almost 8-9 months ago, and we've been wanting to have a good conversation since then, but we never got the chance, fortunately, unfortunately. But finally, we've made it. I'm so glad we spoke, and I personally was able to understand a lot more about you as a person, because reading the book is one part, I got to understand the characters, but I was so curious of who actually wrote these characters, brought these characters to life. I was actually very curious about it. Thank you so much for being part of our show today. And
just one more thing, like
yeah,
everybody definitely asks me to read something from my
Yeah.
book while I'm talking to them. Today, like you are talking about my book and you felt it so deeply,
Yeah.
I would like you to read your favorite passage from my book.
Passage, I don't think I can pick out a passage, but there are certain instances.
Okay.
Like, I think one of my favorite instances in the book is, it's honestly, it's some of the most simplest instances. There are spaces in the book where you talk about one of the character being in the balcony, morning routine, because I love my morning routines when I sit with the coffee and my book and I just sit. It could be with a little bit of sunlight on my sofa. But I loved how character A is doing her morning routines and starts observing character 2.
Okay.
And there are moments where you're describing, just by seeing each other, you feel a connect. And connection, because I'm somebody who personally believe a lot that I don't have to spend hours and days and months with a person to know if I can actually connect with that person.
Yeah.
So there were those beautiful moments when you're talking about character A observing character B and then finding that minute connects, and one day character B is not there, character A is in trouble. It's like, no, what happened? You're genuinely concerned for that other person. You neither had conversation, you don't know who each other is. You're meeting or talking with each other is after months of that very silent, because both of them know that you're there for each other. So it's a huge, I personally felt that connection that you built for each of them, personally, it felt like you feel a safety when you know that there's somebody else. You might not actually have to have a conversation. You don't even have to know your name or where you're from or anything. But just having somebody like that, it feels safer. I somehow felt that for your characters, for Kittu and Naira, the way you build that relationship for them in silence, because they are in their own struggles in their house, in silence, they knew they had each other's back.
Exactly,
They somehow build that trust ki tomorrow if I'm in trouble, this could be one person that I could go to. But they had never had a conversation.
That was a twin flame
Exactly.
connection.
So this part, how you described in the book, and this is throughout the book. So that's why I didn't said that I do not want to read a passage, because this is not one passage. This is chapter after chapter when Naira is narrating her lookout, when Kittu is narrating her lookout. She's sad, she's crying, but then she's looking through the window and seeing the other person and she's relaxing. So that I felt is something you've done beautifully. So which is why I said I really enjoyed the characters in the book more than anything, because you could feel like this could be your neighbor. This could be somebody whom you know. So that felt very deep and connecting. So thank you so much for actually building those characters.
Thank you
That's
so much.
my answer.
And thank you so much for feeling so much with with them. And I think so you are actually feeling what they were going through. That is also, we need readers like that actually, no? The readers who become one with the characters, and that is the best thing which any author can get. So thank you to you.
Congratulations, Animatrius, for having built such a successful book, and all the best to you for your writing journey, your career as a writer, and anything that come across as your life in the future. Thank you so much for being here today. And I would definitely want to have a conversation with you again when you have your next book out.
Definitely looking forward, and we are going to work together for that book.
That I look forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
So Neha, thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure finally meeting you and talking to you about your book, and
Likewise.
Really appreciate that.
Likewise, I had my best moments. This is the best moment for any author when we talk about our book, and especially with a person who is appreciating your book. So that was one of my best moments as an author. And being part of this show is again a very memorable moment I'm going to remember, and definitely looking forward to many more of those. And to all my friends there, please like, subscribe Author's Nest, and I hope many authors in the future are going to be part of this. So it's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Dear viewers, thank you so much for being with us today. The next show will be back with another episode for us to dive deep through to the journey of another author's life. Happy reading to you till then.